Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And what it does is it's, oh, let me do this. Hold up. That probably would have, oh well. Cool. Woohoo! So we're all getting set up here, guys. We're going to actually start training here in about 10 minutes, give or take. So I'm super excited. So there's a little bit of lag between the program I'm using to record this and it actually going up onto YouTube. So I guess we'll deal with that. But I think it's going to be good anyways. So we'll see how it goes. And if we think this program sucks, then I'll do something else instead. But cool. Oh, I have to put the link up. What am I even doing? Copy that. And now we're gonna do there we go. And what is happening? Oh, that's what's happening. Look. All right. What do you? Oh, did you throw one?
Oh, slid out of my hands.
Okie dokie. Put it there. Dun 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 dun. Doing the thing. There's this. Post. And then I guess I want to go there, and I want to go to there. Post and stream is here. Okay, so I guess I posted it everywhere I can. Oh, except for I was gonna put it
Can you
on.
do like a thing on YouTube where you send a message to everyone?
Can you?
Yeah, there's like a thing.
Well, I
So-
don't.
So people can go, in 2 hours I'm gonna start a live stream.
Oh, you can do that?
Yeah, or they set up a poll.
Oh, well, I should have asked you about how to get all this set up because I did not. Oh, buddy, honey, the camera's there. Hop on that. Ah! Brian. Oh, man, son.
It wasn't me sitting down that made the poll. It was the me standing up.
Yeah, I was going through a lot to like have that set right. Well, so much for that.
Well,
All
now
right.
it's set up right.
Well, it's pretty close. We're gonna, you know what? Everybody's gonna forgive us it not being perfect, I think. I think everybody's gonna be okay with a little bit of imperfection today.
I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah.
You think they're gonna expect complete perfection?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, are you putting it up on YouTube?
I am putting it on YouTube.
Okay, so someone's gonna know that.
Someone's gonna what?
Someone's gonna piece up the comments on how it was slightly offset.
Oh, I'm sure somebody's gonna have a lot of comments about it. Oh my goodness. All right, so people are telling me the camera works, so that's exciting. Hey everybody, so we've got, I don't know, 4 or 5 more minutes before we officially get running.
We got 2 minutes.
2 minutes. No, we'll give it another minute just to make sure that I've got all my stuff handled on this end. But there is a pretty significant lag between me talking and you guys seeing me, maybe 15 or 20 seconds. So I'm gonna do the best I can with navigating that. But I wanted to run it through this little program that I'm using so that you see my little symbol up in, I think this side, if I know what I'm doing. I think it's on this side. But what's gonna happen is as we're working on techniques today, we're gonna have images and text that'll come up there, even though we're live. So I wanted to try to make this work, but y'all are you're gonna forgive the imperfections, even though Brian, who's helping me, who is 11 and knows a lot more about all of this YouTubing than I do, assures me that people are going to correct me about my video quality and everything else on YouTube. So we'll just see how it goes. Yay, the symbol is there! It's happening, and I gestured in the proper direction, which is also exciting. So super pumped about this. It's going to be really fun. Okay, so I think what we're gonna work through today, unless you guys throw up stuff that you want us to jump into, I had kind of thrown up on Facebook asking for some ideas about maybe what we would do today, and I had some questions about Messer parries, particularly when we're looking at the Glasgow manuscript and Joost van Württemberg, the manuscripts that are very, I have a Vanna White thing going, awesome. But the manuscripts that are very simplistic, right? But those are the ones that also have the greatest amount of tie-in with Talhofer, Cal, etc. So the earlier Messer stuff, pre-Lukushner. So anyway, so I thought Brian and I would do some warm-ups, kind of my normal sword warm-ups, just to give you guys ideas for things that maybe you can do with a sword in your front yard or backyard or whatever that don't require a partner. And then we'll try to do some paired drills. And we'll see how that goes. Brian's a little bit out of practice. He has been focused on ballet and tap for the past year. What?
Also Subnautica.
Yes.
I've played that one.
Yes. Also a lot of Subnautica lately, since we've been out of school. But anyways, he's been focused on things outside of swords. So it might take him a minute to warm up, but again, I know everybody's going to be really forgiving and kind to him. So let's go ahead and get going. Brian, will you put the yoga ball up? Thanks, bud. All right, so first we're gonna do joint circles, okay? Okay, so come in the middle of the circle with me, join me in the circle. All right, that way everybody can see. So you're gonna pick up a foot and make circles with your ankle and get this joint all nice and warm. So the one downside of this setup, y'all, is I'm not gonna be able to see your comments except for when I go over to like shift things. So I'll catch up with the other way. So I'll catch up once I get over there, is what it is. All right, now let's take our knee and make big circles like that. Going forward and over. There you go. So this is just a little sequence that I always do to warm up. And at this point, one more. At this point, now go the other way. It's almost kind of a ritual to getting me into headspace to work with swords. And, you know, for what it's worth, if you run a class, other foot, if you run a class, it is always helpful to start with some sort of form of ritual, whatever it is, because it helps people's brains trigger in that, oh, I know what we're doing, I know what's about to happen here, and it kind of sets up, other way, sets up everything neurologically to be in the learning place that they're used to happening in the space. So now here, I will often throw a little bit of variability in it once we get through the joint circles, but these are always the same and always in the same order. And another way, buddy. At previous times of running classes, I've used sun salutations for this. I've used just other various ideas, but this is what I'm currently doing. Okay, big weight stance, and let's do squats. And up. How far down can you go? Nice. How far down can your rear end go? Nice. Looking good, buddy. Let's get 3 more. 1, 2, and 3. All right, arm circles. Nice joints. And this is also helpful. A lot of my students drive quite a ways in. So starting with jogging or something more, I don't know, athletic, other direction, might not be a solid choice for them. Again, because maybe they've been in a car for an hour and 15 minutes. And I don't want them getting out of the car and running barefoot on concrete right out of the bat. It's a bad choice, so. Now, this. So I just kind of hit just these series of joints that we're gonna need mobility out of, other direction. And then we'll do some footwork. We are almost there. Okay, up and down. Nice. And in and out. We pretend like we're a T-Rex. No. All right. Fine. No T-Rexes. All right. Now, head lifts up and down. Up and down. Up and down. All right. Keep doing that. Keep doing that. I'm going to check to see if you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Hopefully you can hear me. Yay! You're getting appreciated, Brian. All right. Let's look right and left. On the very tippy top of your neck, right and left. Good. Now, tilt either side. Slow. Go over and stretch. Go over and stretch. You're not as heavy as I am, buddy. It's because you're younger. Cool. Cool. All right, let's do some footwork. All right, so start with your left foot on the circle. Put it on the line. Good. Now, bring your right foot up and trade. Now your left foot up and trade. And keep going. Nice and slow. Stay on the circle. Good. You can watch your feet for right now till you get used to it. Yeah, you notice that I'm going 2 lines. Okay? Good. So if you're going to do 2 lines, Brian, if you're going to do 2 lines, put your back foot on the middle line. Put your back foot on the middle line. There you go. And on the middle. On the middle. There you go. So I get asked a lot, what is a circle on the floor for? And it's for doing these kinds of footwork drills. Oh, you're gonna train with me? Choose a spot. Choose a spot. I'm gonna just turn so I was facing the camera. Oh, you're gonna do that? That's fine. So Brian's getting some shuffles in, and I'm just working on changing step again, just getting warm right now. Being able to place my feet and body where I want to be. I'm up over my front leg through this process, so I kind of stay in this little triangle. Good. All right. So, Brian. Good. You're in a good position. Your left leg is on the circle. Your right leg is on the line. Nope. You were correct. There you go. Take your left leg. Go 2. Put your right leg on the line. Go 2. Back. 2. Oh, no, you missed something up if you're this close to me. Reset. There you go. And come across. So. Put your left leg on. Put your left leg right here. Put your left foot right here. Good. Right leg on the line. Good. So your left foot's going to go 2, 1, 2. And it's going to point at the middle of the circle. And then the right foot comes here. Then we go 2. I almost did more than 2. Right foot on the line. Right foot on the line. Good. 2. Right foot on the line. There it is. 2. Right foot on the line. Nice. Now you found the rhythm, bud. Nice and warm. So you want to stay looking at the middle of the circle, because that's where the bad guy is. He's in the middle of the circle. Well, you got close. Wait for me to take 3 steps. Pause. 2. And go. There you go, buddy. All right, let's trade sides. So, right foot's on the circle. And your left foot's on the line. So your right foot's going to go that way. And go. You don't want to have to go faster than you can keep control of. So we're bringing that foot so that it's looking at the center. We're moving nice and controlled.
That's your little small enemy.
It's a very tiny enemy. It's an enemy standing right here. One more time around. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Nice. Excellent. Let's move this all forward. I'm glad you guys can hear me.
Do we use this?
All right. Cool.
Do we use this?
No, you're not using that. Not right now. All right, buddy. So I went ahead and changed our little sign for some of the footwork that we're gonna go ahead and do right here. Again, this is just part of my normal warm-up, but I think of this as Zoofestian footwork drills now that we're warm. So first up is, will you trade sides with me, Brian? Okay, so this can be my default side and that can be your default side, okay?
Wow, you can't be boxed by that.
That's okay, then I make you walk like that. That's okay. All right. I mean, maybe we'll trade. It doesn't matter. right next to that circle. And go back out and reset. Out of the circle. Left foot on the circle. Come in. And then go back. And reset. Out of the circle. Reset out of the circle. Beautiful. Good. Foot. Spring. And come back. Ready? Foot. Spring. And come back. Foot. Spring. And come back. All right. You ready to mix it up a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. So, foot. Left foot. Spring. Give me a high five. And come out on this side. Yeah.
This was
Well, we could fist bump, but that's going to hurt really bad. I promise you.
This helps spread us disease.
You and I live together. We are not diseased. Here we go. Left foot. On the circle. Spring in. High five. And come out. Left foot. On the circle. Spring in. And come out. Left foot. On the circle. Spring in. And come out. Left foot on the circle. Good. Left foot. Spring and out. Left foot in. Spring and out. Left foot. Spring in and out. Left foot. Spring and out. Two more. Left foot. Spring out. Left foot. Spring and out. Okay. Let's do the other way. So our right foot is going to be forward. Good. Right foot, spring, and out. Right foot, spring, and out. Right foot, good. Spring. Right foot. Right foot. Two more. Right foot, spring, and out. Last one. Right foot, spring, and out. Nice. All right, buddy. Good work. So next we're going to move on, and we're, son, do you see? All right, he's got it worked out now. So we're gonna move on, and we're gonna start springing to our right a little bit. Then we're gonna spring to our left, and then we'll do some cross-line stuff. All right. So here we go. I want you to take your left foot on a circle. The first thing I want you to do is to come across one line, only one line, and then I want you to jump onto the circle. So, yes. Then reset. Left foot goes one, jump, and reset. Left foot goes one, jump, and reset. Nice. Left foot, jump, and reset. Whoa, you're going fast. A, we can't go so fast that we're not doing it right. All right, reset. Reset. A few more. Left foot, jump, and reset. Left foot, jump, and reset. Oops, I didn't do my left foot, and I can tell I didn't get as far. All right, let's do right. Right foot on the circle. Ready? Right foot, and jump. Right foot, jump. Right foot, jump. I got off. with my initial movement off to my own right, and then coming out on that line. Maybe it would be good for like, I don't know, it's very shallow from my right side. If I did it more dramatically, maybe a Krummhau, right? But then I can also work going to this way, which maybe would be a good answer for shield, maybe. Or maybe if I'm going to feint a sphere, and my first committed sphere is going to come off to my left. So I'll open up my left foot to my left side, and then spring into my right. So if you give me just a second, buddy, if you can come over to this line off the camera for me. Thanks, buddy. So the only thing I'm going to say about this is because we're crossing that foot, if you want to keep your intention on the opponent, you want to be able to develop the strength and flexibility to be able to take this position and it not be in such a way that it's going to be bad on your knees or hips. But that might not be you right now, so, you know, practice. Now is a good time to practice this sort of thing. So, again, I'm going to slip my foot to the left, spin with my right, and reset. All right. Brian, you want to try this one? Sure. Come here, bud. So we're going to reset. So we got our left leg on the circle. We're going to take to our left. Then we're going to spring with our back leg across. And then we reset. To our left and spring. To our left and spring. To our left and spring. Two more. To our left and spring. To our left and spring. Okay, right foot. Switch feet. Right foot goes to our right. And spring. Nice. Right foot goes to our right. And spring. Right foot goes to our right. And spring. Right foot goes to our right. And spring. Two more. Right foot goes to our right. And spring. And right. And spring. Nice. All right. Last but not least, oh no, I think I already did it actually. Hold up.
What?
Oh, no. Last one we're going to practice is being able to get really far to our left. So, yeah, like dramatically. Okay, so line up with me. Our left leg is on the circle. We're going to bring our right foot in front and onto this line. So your back foot, yeah, is going to cross. Then you're going to be able to jump all the way to here. Yes. So if you do it flowing, yeah, then it'll be easier, right? You got stuck, and that makes that hard. So, yeah, cross and go. Just go as far as you want to go right now, buddy, because concrete might be hard on your feet. You're not used to it. Cross and go. Cross and go. Right? So this is good. Whoops. This is good for like a double sphere sort of action. Or if you're using, what it's really, really good for actually, if you're going to throw the entry with the low sphere and then to the high, followed by a second high, this one sets that up pretty brilliantly. Yeah. Is that good, bud? You feel like that's enough footwork?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you need a drink of water?
No.
Okay. All right.
No, I drink water.
Yeah, he's good. He doesn't need to drink water. So, so the only thing I would say as a caution is obviously this is a drill, and how that would apply is actually that little shuffle, whether it's straight forward or to the left or to the right with the left foot as the first action. The purpose of that is to help our bodies understand that that left foot is getting placed and then we're going to spring off of it, rather than starting from a static position and just trying to spring which is loading all with the back side, which you might need, like that might also be a skill set you need. But if you're looking for a hard drive, then you want to be able to get it from, you're walking, whatever's happening, I set and I'm going to drive, because I've trained this enough that I know how my left foot is going to land, that's going to propel me forwards, right? Obviously, the more static position is great for if you're doing a Zornhau, that sort of thing, where you actually aren't in the vor, right? When you're completely replying from the knock. But even so, even in a knock action, knowing and training that that chain of movements of that left leg placing being the launch is good. So let me check and see if any of y'all said anything. Oh, you didn't. You just, yay, people like it. They think it's good for their souls. I'm happy about that. Okay, so we're gonna, yeah, buddy. See, people are happy. So we're gonna move on to Messer now. And again, this is coming out of Jobst von Württemberg, which is a later treatise. It's in the early 16th century, but it's very, very clearly working with the earlier Messer tradition, as I said at the beginning. So we're going to just be looking at the three primary kind of parries. There's a couple other parries that he talks about that I'm not going to get into today. And so two of them are schlecht parries, which in modern German means bad, right? Like it's not a positive word. But in the period that we're talking about, there's been some meaning drift. So in the period we're talking about, it actually means simple. In the connotation, simple in the connotation of straightforward, easy, clear. So straightforward might be a longer English phrase that encompasses the idea, but basically, simple, right? And that's going to be in opposed to inverted, right? So there's two kinds of simple parries and one inverted parry, at least as far as I'm reading it right now. So Brian and I are going to work with that and show you a couple of things. So the first drill I have here up for you already. You've probably already read it because I've been rambling for way too long. But Brian's already got his Messer, so we're gonna try to set this up for you. All right. So first set, Brian. Let's make sure we can do our Oberhaus. It's been a minute. Okay, so why don't that be your side, okay, buddy? Since you're a little bit shorter than me, that way I can see in camera, okay? But we might trade around. Okay, so you did that on the way. No, it's good. I can't move it. We can edit it. They're okay. All right, so sword in just your right hand. One-handed, just like sword and buckler. It's been a long time, right? Left hand on the circle, or left foot on the circle, left hand on your back or on your hip. Which one's your left? This one. You are being silly. Here we go. Okay. Go ahead and cut to me. Cut. Cut to me. Cut. There you go. Nice. Okay, good. Reset. And now let me cut. And I cut. All right. Now you cut. Good. And back. And now I cut. Cool. Yeah. Good. All right. Now I want you to move your left foot so you can come close to me. And move your left and take a step. Left and then sprint. Yes, good job, bud. Bring that in. Left and then sprint. You got it. Good. Do that again. That's what we're going to be doing. Do you want to put a mask on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very cool.
The one on the far right, buddy, is probably the good one. So, you know, adults trust me not to hit them in the face, but my son doesn't, so he's gonna put a mask on. But then we're gonna work from there. You got it? You remember how to do this? There.
Wait, that's it. Wait, that's it.
Yep, they're good.
Yeah.
All right. Whoop. There you go. Now you feel good. Let's do it. All right, ready? That way I can show people this simple parry. I've already done like 12, but let me do some more. Okay, step and cut. Good. Step and cut. Good. Bring your hand down. Step and cut. Good. Do you want me to wear a mask?
Yeah.
Yes. You love my face.
Those masks are cool.
Oh, masks look cool? Okay. All right, try to hit me right here.
Yeah.
Look at me. Look at me. Try to hit me right here.
Okay.
Okay, do it again. Cool. Do it again. Good. All right, back up. Now, try to hit me right there. Bonk. So that's our drill. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Is that too freaky or are you good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold with 2 hands.
You can hold it with 2 hands. You just have to be more gentle then, okay? Yeah, see, you can't cover. No, I know. Come on.
It's just reading your thoughts.
I know.
Oh no, I
Boop. Let me move you. Come. Boop. Do you want to do the parry now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm going to cut. Yeah? All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Good. Here. Good. Nice. You can do it with one hand now?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so now, look. Parry. Now, jump really far. And hit me. Yes. That's what I want you to do. Do that. Good, that's better. Okay. Parry. Jump. Yes, nice. Parry. Good. Parry. Let's get 3 more, okay? You're doing good. Last one. Nice, we made high five. Bump. All right. So, straight parry, as you guys see, it's a straight parry. It's literally what it says it is, right? Simple parry, riposte into the face. You can make it more dynamic, as Brian was doing at the end. I do tend to do the parry with just a turn of the hip, directing that intention there, and then based on how they react to that simple parry, right? So that way I have the ability to leave if I need to leave, or to change which direction my feet are going as I'm doing it. So, let's see now. Okay, cool. So, really straightforward. So let's look at the other version of a straight parry, which is, I tend to call it a bowing. I don't know if LeCouchner would call it his bowing or not, but that rather than coming into a parry and in, we're going to be coming into a parry and in some way. And I thought it would be fun for the purposes of this drill, once we get it going. The way Joost van Woudenberg here in the text describes it is pretty darn close to one of the Tallhofer plays from 1467. So I thought Brian and I would work through that, and I would teach it to Brian, and then he's just going to wreck my elbow, and it's going to be good fun. So let's get that going. All right, come here, Mr. B. All right. So first up, I need you to be able to stand with your left leg on the circle. And now your sword is going to be by your right hip. And then you're going to cover your head. Nice. Right hip. Cover your head. Good. And cover your head. Good. And cover your head. So first, you're going to start up here. And you're going to hit me. And I'm going to cover my head. Okay? And then we'll reset. And then now put your sword by your hip. And I'm going to cut you, you're going to cover your head, okay? And now, you're going to cut me, cover my head, and. You like that one?
Yeah.
Does this one feel better to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it totally does. I agree, it feels better.
And everyone feels for the context, even though it's just like dog tap.
Yeah. All right. So. I'll cut you. Here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
Cover your head. Good. So do you notice that my point's down a little bit when I cover my head?
Like this?
Yes. So maybe do it that way.
Okay.
Nice! How'd that feel?
Good. Why do you put it slightly downwards?
Good question. Why do you put it slightly downwards? Right?
Yeah. So like
So,
see, I was attacking like this.
right? Slightly down means you're going to go exactly, right?
And if it was straight?
If it was straight, now I gotta, if it's straight, now I gotta try to fight you, and if you come in, oh, then you got me. Do you see?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to control which direction you're going as well, right?
Yes.
So I don't want it even with one
You
hand.
want me to go the opposite way of the sword, like this way.
Yeah, yeah, right?
If you went to the sword to go the other way.
I want your sword to go that way,
Yeah.
so that I can go there. So,
What if you went to go the other way?
okay, give me that.
That's cool. So it's like,
Yeah, but with the point down. Point down there, good, and point down there. Other way. Yes, because you can do both, right? Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. The first play, the easiest one, is you're gonna cut. I'm gonna cover my head, and I'm gonna step out, and I'm gonna cut. And you look like a manuscript page with that on the face. I love it. Okay, your turn. So you start on your head. There you go. And good. And you step way out there. And there it is. Good. Here we go. Come to me. I won't hit you hard.
okay.
But you went to the other parry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both there.
And
Okay.
someone knocked it in my sword.
Because you don't want to get hit. So you want to string both parries together?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to cut to your head. Jump right up. Yeah, that's not the way you do it. Watch me do it. Watch me do it. Ready? Cut to me. Around and through. Your turn.
Okay, so it's
Cover. Out and around. Yes, good. Do that again. I'm just gonna bring it to you a bunch, okay? So you get to do the thing. Wrong one. Ready? And cut. Nice. No. And cut. Good.
I want to do that kind of cut thing.
You ready to resume again?
Yeah, I wanted to leave it fast.
Okay. Nice. Good. Okay. No. Three more. 1, 2. Last one. And 3. Nice. All right. Now you ready to learn a super cool move?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you need to drink water first?
Yeah.
Okay, get your drink of water. All right. So now that Brian's built the base of this drill, understanding that you're covering such that you're shedding off the incoming blow to your left, hopefully, right? That's the goal. And that if it does start to shed, you can spring out and cut in. But now we're going to explore the text that's on the screen for you guys, and which is going to come out of a place where the person does not shed away, so that when the attacker binds upon the bowing or upon the simple parry with the point down, that they're going to try to stick to it and stay there. And because they're there, you can't leave. Then it becomes dangerous to leave. So Tallhofer teaches this play out of these guards. I'm not going to do that to Brian today. But from there, we're going to flow underneath, get an arm wrap, and end up in this sweet belly stab. It feels really, really satisfying to do. So that's where we're headed. Excellent. All right, let's go. You ready? I'm going to put on my mask for you because this one might get a little bit tricky. Okay, so I'm just going to teach you how to do it, okay, buddy? You're going to show everybody. Are you ready? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to cut to your head and you're going to cover quick up. Okay, you ready? And then you're going to stop. Yeah. Okay. Start on your hip, left foot forward, get your good fencing position. Here we go. Good. All right, and so let's say I came really close. You can't get away from me, can you? Right? It's dangerous. What happens if you try to leave? Yeah, you already feel you can't leave, right? Okay, so let's get in that position again. Good fencing. Good fencing position. Here we go. Ready? Yeah. And cover. Now, take your left hand. Yes. And you're going to bring it right here, and you're going to take a big step with your right foot right at me. Oh, that's one option. But you're going to wrap my arm up. There you go. And then you're going to stab me in the belly. Put it in the belly so the belly won't hurt, okay? All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do all the steps. Step, cover, arm. Oh, arm wrap, not grab. Yes, and stand. Beautiful. Here we go. Ready? Cover, arm wrap, and stand. And you can step forward with your right leg if you want. Okay? Let's see how that goes. But let's build it up. Cover, wrap. See, and then you can bring your right leg in. Your other right leg. Yeah, there you go. Then you're nice and close. Good. Ready? Here we go. Cover, wrap, and stab. Nice. Cover, All right. So next up, let's go ahead then. If those are the two straight parries, 1 point up and 1 point down, both of them covering our left line, right? Because that's the line being threatened. We're going to then have a look at the inverted parry. So, sorry, I had to get a real messer for a second. Or realish, right? So, when you're going to do a straight parry, it's simply just bringing, right, my long edge across that line, right? And there's some specifics of ways that we can do that that are more effective than other ways, but that's beyond this class today, right? So if I'm going to come from my hip into an inverted parry, I'm going to be turning my hand all the way over. And again, covering my left line, but covering it now with my short edge, okay? So from my hip, it's going to be a turn in there. Now my navel is protecting my hand, so if they overbind onto my flat, I don't have to worry about my hand getting tagged because of my nail. And it's almost kind of crawnish that this is going to come in and cover that line. From there, it could dive straight in to a thrust, right into the face. Very often, however, we see with it shedding motions. And I have a lot of thoughts as to why this is really important to train for your longsword game, because if you start to understand the fueling of the shed and gaining the outside, this starts to play into what Meyerhoff calls Adlaufen. It starts to play into all sorts of Durchlaufen. It plays into Nachreisen plays. So anyways, it's just good. It's good for your longsword. So again, how did I set this up here? I did set it up from left Navenhood. So let's have a look at it from the left Navenhood. We'll see if we can get Brian doing this today. He's learned a lot today, so it might be beyond him. But if I start with my sword on my left side, it sets this up pretty lovely that I can pop it out with my short edge and cover here. So if I'm in Naven such that my navel is pointing out from my hip here, hard to see with the real messer, but with a steel messer, but it's going to circle around, catch the incoming blow, shed it off, and cut around, and I go out of frame. Yeah, buddy, we're about to do it.
We have honey.
I have honey because sometimes I have tea here.
You have tea here?
Sometimes. Not today, though, because my hot water heater isn't working right. Okay, so with the big one, you can kind of, there we go. With the plastic one, you can kind of see a little bit better the way the nail is coming in and covering. So from that left side, cover, I'm going to shed to my right and come around with my long edge. So let's get Brian going on this. All right, you ready, buddy? Yeah. All right, good. What's that?
This is another way.
Yes, the blue side goes up front. Blue is to back. All right. So let's practice trading it. So switch your feet and put it down by your back leg. Good. Can you make a big circle and bring it forward? Nice. Okay. So let's start here. Bring it down low. Catch it, and, oh, other way, other way. Come back, please. And catch it. Yep. Big circle. Catch and push. There it is. Ready? And catch and push. Nice. And catch and push. 2 more. And catch and push. And catch and push. Now, catch. Begin your push. Catch and begin your push. Good. Now, hook your palm. And hit me. Woo! Nice. You ready? Whoop. Big circle. And push, hook, and hit. You gotta hook my hands. Catch, push, hook. Good. Now, as you hook, step in with your back foot. You ready? Catch, push, hook, and nice. Let's do it again. Hook, hook, push. Yep. Ready? Catch, push, hook. Yes. Catch, push, hook. Catch, push, hook. Catch, push, hook. 2 more. Catch, push, hook. Yeah, last one. Catch, push, hook. Okay. see Tallhofer showing it here. I should have showed you this before we did it, but whatever. So he has it, the inverted up there. In his case, he's keeping the point quite high and not diving it in afterwards. But of course, these are all variations. It's like there's 1,000,001 things you can do from every guard, right? And then there is the pommel hook and the setup for the elbow, okay? And you see that initially, the guy being thrown, his elbow is down, but you can, I don't know that we can see his thumb position in there. I can get my text if we care. But you can hook your thumb up under a downward bent elbow to pop that sucker up and over, goof, and take it that way. So, yep. Yeah, so the other couple of sets of plays there were longsword plays if we were going to have time or mental energy, but I think I'll save those for next week. How do you feel about what we did, Betty? You feel pretty good?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think we have like 4 minutes left.
We do. Do you want to try to use the things we just did in sparring?
Sure.
Okay, so we're going to put the plastic ones down, and we're going to get the friendly ones out, okay? But we're going to keep masks on, okay?
What?
Go ahead and put that down. All right.
Oh yeah, the fake ones.
Yes, the friendly ones.
Yes.
So these block, but these aren't painful in any way. So these are, I think they're like LARP swords, but they're really, really friendly as far as in a cut. You'll know you got hit, but I don't think. I mean, maybe on the back of the forearm you could come away with a bruise, but not much of one as long as you're being reasonable. They're a little bit bendy in the thrust, not a ton though. So I wouldn't recommend playing these without some sort of face covering, or at least eye covering, right? But but a thrust to the body with this is just going to give you an oof. You're certainly not going to get a broken sternum or anything like that with these things. But anyway, so these can be really fun, particularly for the little guys to incorporate their work, and then with everybody else, we can kind of go full tilt boogie with these with some goggles on or whatever, and have a pretty good time. So, all right. So we're going to just do a couple of rounds, okay? And we're going to try to do what we just did. Right. But we're going to be moving and chasing each other, okay? Because it's sparring. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so step 1, we have to salute. Do you remember? No, do you remember? Draw your sword. Salute. Draw your sword. And put it up. And we can begin.
anyways, so, you know, always ending trying to spar and incorporate what you were just working on with some silliness and hugs and like, oh my God. Anyways, thank you guys so much. Let me see. There are all kinds of comments on here. Let me see if I can take a minute and reply to those with like the camera here so I can, sorry everybody. There we go. Maybe. There we go. Well, a little weird, but that's fine. Okay. Nice. Oh, people are really excited with what Brian's doing. That's cool. All right, looking back. Did you see what Alina said?
Yeah. Fun to see Brian fancy out instead of video recorders, so
right? Isn't that very silly? Okay, so having a look here. Sorry, guys. Please don't push that, baby, because that's what the camera's on. You're gonna make everybody sick. Of course, I might too. So there was some chatting about cron. Excuse me, and what cron is. If I were to cron with a longsword, that would be more or less out here. I don't remember what you guys call it in Italian. I'm sorry, but you guys have it, right? So it's not this guy, but it's out here more or less. And honestly, the wrong way. Honestly, more and more, when I'm bringing cron up, I am actually already pre-committing one of my crosses to it, depending on what side they're coming into, right? But normally for a right-handed fencer versus a right-handed fencer, I'm coming with my sword to my right, and so it's my left cross piece is on my short, and then that actually lets me maybe, depending on what foot's forward, throw into that same sort of shedding action that we were already just doing with the messer, with our inverted parry, right? So there's a lot of commonality between these and what you're going to do with it out of that gate, right? It's just the exact alignment of that is different. So hopefully that's helpful about cron. I don't know anything about Unicorn Guard. That is out of my century, so I cannot speak to it. Nor can I speak to Einhorn. Again, totally out of my century, not what I study. Yeah, cool. So everybody's talking about cool stuff there. Next week, yes. So next week, I'm going to be doing this every Wednesday that we are under the corona, right? Because listen, I got to get here with swords and do some work, and oh, nice, dude.
Yeah, I did like a toy center how.
That's awesome. We'll keep working it. So yeah, as long as we're under quarantine, I'm going to be doing this. Because my Turnhalle is my own private space, I know like my bestie was worried about me coming here because she thought it was a shared space. But no, this is mine, so it's more or less me coming out to my garage that's a mile away from my house and doing swords with my son. So I'm not in any threat whatsoever being here. But so as long as we can't train with other people, I'm going to keep doing this Wednesdays at 7:30. And this YouTube seemed to work pretty well, so I'm going to keep just pushing it up through YouTube, which means it's going to be saved and accessible in the future, which I also really wanted. There's no point in doing all of this and not sharing it with everybody, right? Even if you can't make it here on the times that I'm doing it live, maybe come and enjoy it then. So yes, I got fired up to murder my offspring. I mean, it's what he's here for, right? I made him, I can break him. Something like that? Not really. Not really. Cool. Do I collect their blade on my hilt in Kron? Yeah, basically. Yeah. That is, if I'm hanging out in one of my low guards, and I'm gonna pop up into Kron, or even if I was maybe from a bind in Flug, and maybe I was getting some intense pressure inwards, I might pass through Kron on my way to a Durchlaufen, or on my way to an Ablaufen, or some other like oh shit moment. But yeah, normally, right, the typical or the canonical play, I would say, where we are taught Kron and the plays from Kron is coming from Alber, which I tend to do with the right leg lead. So I'm going to be down here, and I mean, maybe this is for next week. I don't know. There seems to be a lot of interest in Kron. But I tend to take Alber with the right leg lead with very squared hips, with my back foot up ready to roll, because if I've taken this position, that means I need to be ready to either enter or leave aggressively. And hopefully they're taking the bait and giving me a high enough cut that that's going to be a good cover for me to work from there. And I'm going to get a good amount of cover from this. I can't help but be reminded of if you are being attacked with a dagger and you don't have your own dagger out, or you don't even have one, that you cover with the key is what it's called, but it's with these crossed hands making this X again, so that you can then from there flow to a variety of things. So to me, this is Kron with empty hands against dagger. This is it with longsword, and then with Messer we were kind of seeing that inverted hand. The Laufens are, so Durchlaufen would be running through to wrestle, and Ablaufen is that thing all you Furious like to do all the time, where you shed a blow and come through and cut out. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful for Jervis. I'll make an effort to be more pan-European with my descriptions, and also not assume everybody that jumped in is studying the German stuff going forwards. But hopefully, yeah, that gets you going. Cool. So, yeah. All right. So I think I've addressed all of the questions to present. Yeah, awesome. Excellent. Cool. Oh, Matthew Hooper, I think. Hooper says he's working towards building HEMA for kids, teens, and is interested in the way I was working with Brian. Honestly, the way I was working with Brian is pretty much the way I work with everyone. I was just a little more explicit with him about the steps, and you'll probably notice it took me a moment to get into a rhythm of what words I wanted to use to cue which actions, and then I tried to always use the exact same words. So again, that's just going to be more important for kids. Brian's 11, even though he's my size, so don't let that fool you. So he's only in 6th grade, but I find even my 15-year-olds, because I have quite a few 15, 16, 17-year-olds in my class, they do seem to internalize what I'm asking them to do easier if I maintain the same verbiage for what I'm doing, and it being simple words seems to be helpful. Alina says that I use smaller words with her. I don't know that that's true. But I do invite adults to do things a lot, particularly if they're doing things in a way that I think maybe isn't wrong. And so I don't want to use the word correction or offer correction in that particular case, because it could be what they're doing is for a good reason. And sometimes I'll actually even come from a place of curiosity and say, can you tell me why you're doing it that way? And then either they actually have a reason and they'll be like, because my left shoulder is fucked and I can't get my hand up there, so I'm not doing it the way you showed it. And then I go, oh, okay, well that makes perfect sense then. Yes, carry on, do what you were doing. But then sometimes you say, hey, can you tell me why you're doing it that way? And they go, and they go, okay, all right, well, let me invite you to try it this way. And then, you go into a better space. Anyways, sorry. Yes, no more thrusts to the face, Elena. All right, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. I think if we were gonna do a total chat question and answer AMA sort of session, which we could totally do one of these times, I might not have it running through this other system, so that I am more in time with you guys, because I'm not sure how the delay is working with your commenting, though you all keep commenting, so I guess it's not completely awful. But anyways, it would be much nicer to chat with you without a delay for sure. So, awesome. I think with that, we're gonna go ahead and close out tonight. Thank you guys so much. Tell your friends, join us next time. So yeah, next time I think we'll do longsword. And maybe let's do some exploration of maybe entering from the Zufeschen and what the Onsetsen and Shisen might look like. That might be a good drill that wouldn't freak Brian out too hard. As you can see, he's not yet accustomed to swords coming at him very quickly. But anyways, I think we can build up and make that drill scalable for everybody's comfort level. You guys are awesome. I love you. We'll chat later. Stay safe. Wash your hands. All right. Bye. Yep. I sure am.